This is one of those ill-conceived statements made by Christians, especially black Christians, in order to justify the slavery that is within the Bible. So on a previous video where I talked about slavery, this gentleman is saying that Israel mainly, uh, but not always, use slavery as a punishment against their enemies. We literally do this same thing today when we take our enemies in society, pedos, rapists, murderers, and then he goes on to talk about them being placed in jail, is what he's referring to. He's not talking about when we fought against Japan and we had concentration camps in America for Japanese nationals or Japanese born Americans. He's not talking about that. If he was talking about that, then he would have had a leg to stand on. But he's talking about the people that we put in prison for committing crimes. And he goes on to talk about how the 13th Amendment is basically indicating that you can take away the rights of a person and enslave them. But the difference that I tried to bring up to him, which he still seemed to not be able to understand and separate, is chattel slavery means that you are a slave for the entirety of your life. Pedos get out of jail. Rapists get out of jail. Murderers get out of jail. Criminals get out of jail. They serve their time. And yes, he said they serve the community. Not, no, sir. Most prisoners sit inside the prison eating 3 square meals a day, watching television, lifting weights, playing sports, getting an education. Most prisoners are not out there cleaning up the highways and byways. Most prisoners are not building government buildings, cleaning government buildings. They are not serving the community. You do not walk down the streets of any city and you see just every prisoner out there serving the community. You don't even see 10% of the prison community out there serving the community. They are locked away behind bars, and they are not walking around the prisons in chains. Only the worst of the worst offenders who also offend while they're in prison may be walking around in chains. But the overwhelming majority are walking around freely limbed and able to do as they choose and they please within the confines of the prison. So, prison is not slavery. Black people like to say this. Black people love to say that prison is slavery because there is a statistical inordinate amount of black people who go to prison compared to the percentage of population that we represent in this country. Yes, that is a travesty, but that is not slavery. It's oppression, not slavery. We seem to get longer sentences for the same thing. That's oppression. That's not slavery. It's two different things. It's not even a gray line. There's a fucking very bold line in between the two. If you were to go back and speak to any of your ancestors from 3 generations ago, 4 generations ago, I'm sure that they will show you that there is a very distinct difference between slavery and prison. And even more so, the other one, even though he didn't mention it, the other one that black people love to say is that if you work for someone, if you're employed by someone, then you are in slavery. They say this while they are working for someone, employed by someone. They are claiming that they are slaves. One simple question. If you are working for a company, can you quit? Can you quit? There are repercussions to you quitting. You can go find another job. You may start your own company. But the question is, can you quit? You know the answer is yes. There is no other answer but yes. You can try to, if you quit, then you can't pay your bills. Now you can find another job and still pay your bills. You can start a company and still pay your bills. But the question is, can you quit your job? And since the only answer is yes, that you can quit, there is no option. The only answer is yes. Then that is not even slightly comparable to slavery, because in chattel slavery, you had no options. You couldn't quit. You couldn't quit. Mm-mm. And let me be clear. You could run away. Slaves ran away. You can call that quitting. So let me be even more specific with the question. If you quit your job, can your company force you to come back? Can your company maim you? Can your company beat you? Can your company penalize you for quitting your job? No, no. Even in a state like Florida, where it is a right to work state, I signed an NDA that I would not, no, not an NDA, a non-compete when I was in IT, that I would not go to another IT training school. Guess what I did when I quit that job? I went over to the IT school across on the other side of the city. And could my company have tried to sue me that I left? They could have tried. But Florida's an at-will state. They would have lost, which is why they did not try. Because even non-competes don't really stand up unless you try to take from that company. That's the only time they stand up. So in 99.9% of the jobs in America, you can quit and the company can't do a damn thing against you. In slavery, if you quit it, they can kill you, they can maim you, they can force you to come back, they can beat you. That's a big ass difference, my guy. So even when you say that employment, you didn't say it, but others do, that employment is slavery. No, no. That is disrespectful to what my ancestors went through during slavery. To even merely suggest it or even to think it inside your brain, it is disrespectful. And for you to say that what my uncle experienced while he was in prison is tantamount to slavery, even to him, he tried that mess on me back in the day. Man, that's slavery in there. Even at 17, 18 years old, I was like, Uncle, you's a lie. Because what I understand from what our ancestors went through slavery, you ain't go through none of that shit. You ain't go through none of it. You was in there playing cards. You was in there playing basketball. You was in there playing football. You was in there lifting weights because you came back big as hell. So that's some bullshit. So trying to compare prison to slavery is disrespectful to those who went through actual slavery and the hardships that they had to face and everything that they had to deal with. And I would advise you personally that if you want to show respect to your ancestors, my ancestors, and everybody else's ancestors who went through slavery, that you will stop with this idea that prison is slavery. Because even with the 13th Amendment in the United States, yes, they can take away your right to vote. They can, you have to put that you are a felon on everything. They can force you to work for wages that are disrespectful as hell, but you have a time limit and you don't actually have to do the work 99% of the time, but there's a time limit. Most prisoners get out of jail. That is not slavery. Slavery is when you don't get out. You're trapped. You can only try to escape. And when you do, they can hunt you down and they can maim you. They can kill you. So, no, sir. That argument is disrespectful as all get out. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because you are in some mental slavery with this bullshit because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.